Hello, guys. All right, so this has been some big news today. Actor James Cromwell, whom I actually met on a set once, super tall, super nice guy, superglued himself to a Starbucks counter in protest of Starbucks charging extra for plant-based milk. Now, of course, as a vegan, I'm all for this, but there have been comments. I'm trying to find some of the comments, but let's just go through what happened. And, people see it as a stunt. He's got a shirt on here that says "Free the Animals." And I would not have superglued my hand. That could probably lead to some peeling and some bleeding. But he was trying to make a point. So this was a New York City Starbucks, and he superglued himself to a counter and essentially was demanding that Starbucks stops the upcharge for plant-based milks, and he tied that into the environment, as well, of course, as wearing his shirt saying "Save the Animals." So it says here, the Succession star rallied against the popular caffeine pickup spots policy of charging more for vegan, plant-based, and more sustainable products as a part of a collective action to fight the climate crisis and protect animal welfare in a New York City outlet. According to a live stream on PETA's Facebook page, the 82-year-old honorary director of the animal rights charity read from a pre-prepared statement. "When will you stop raking in huge profits while customers, animals, and the environment suffer? Starbucks claims that it wants to be more sustainable, but it discourages customers from choosing sustainable products. The company claims to be committed to inclusion and diversity, but it still discriminates against those who can't have dairy." Hey, preaching to the choir right here. I'm like, go for it. Okay, so PETA posted this, and this is just a clip here. I guess you can watch the video yourself. I'm surprised he did this, but hey, you got to bring out the big guns, people who will make the news, as opposed to the local average person who's just going to be arrested and carted off, and no one's going to pay attention. So it says that he wants the coffee chain to stop the practice immediately for the good of the world. James said, "Stop this practice of charging customers more for something that should be available for everybody, that saves the planet, that does not harm animals, and will make a difference." He concluded with, "Save the planet, save the cows, end the vegan upcharge now." I'm for it. So later in the footage, cops were seen arriving at the store to get the protesters to vacate the premises. However, James and one other person who stuck himself to the cash register remained. Following this, they both used a special lotion to free themselves and left the store. James has gained traction for his activism before. In 2015, he was arrested for being part of a group of protesters chained to a wall using one bike lock in opposition to a power plant being constructed in New York State. In 2017, he served 3 days in prison for refusing to pay the fine handed down to him for his disorderly conduct and obstruction of justice. In regards to the incident, he said via a statement, "Anyone with a sense of outrage is compelled to resist. Any law that facilitates and justifies such a crime by stifling dissent is unjust. History will vindicate our struggle and excoriate the perpetrators." That is, if there is a history. Good point. Okay, so I found this article on another site, and the comments were not pleasant. I would look it up, but I put a few comments, and I'm not really in the mood to see if people bashed me for my comments in support of him. So one person said they would have left James stuck to the counter and close the shop because activists just want attention. Someone else's comment that I took particular offense to was like, "Oh, vegans are trying to force us to not have dairy, yet almonds are so water intensive, blah, blah, blah." And then went on to say something like, "Well, I'm happy to switch to oat milk with a nice juicy steak." So I commented, first of all, vegans aren't the only people who can't have dairy. Secondly, he wasn't there protesting whether or not you should eat meat. Thirdly, the climate crisis is in part because of our need to, or not our need, because of our exploiting of cows and so forth. And dropped that comment, and everybody's comments that I saw were all like, "Oh, this is crazy," and also something along the lines of, "Oh, imagine him being upset because he doesn't want to pay the upcharge for vegan milk." So I said, this isn't about him being unable to pay it. It's about him trying to bring attention to a serious issue. And I said, why should we have to pay extra for a plant-based option? I said, oats are super cheap, so Starbucks should drop this practice. Anyway, what do you guys think of actions like this? Hey, you know what? I'm vegan. You're preaching to the choir here. I'm all for it. I've been angry with Starbucks for their upcharge because a lot of places don't charge extra. I don't think there's a need to charge extra. And you're only going to get attention like this when you have a big name in the world, doing something like this. So yeah, it's a bit of a stunt, but hopefully it causes some people to think about it. And I posted this story on my Instagram page, and I just said, yeah, it might seem extreme to some people, but look up how dairy is produced, and then you'll see what's really extreme, not to mention the cost to the environment. So, I hope that this has some people thinking, just as the Joaquin Phoenix speech at the Oscars had a lot of people angry, but probably also got some people to think. And I do remember seeing some comments where people went vegan because of that. All right, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video.